Thank you.
Yep.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to SGA. We're going to start this meeting at exactly 5:30 p.m. Everybody looked at the minutes from the last meeting. Can we have, do we have any questions, or can I make a motion to accept the minutes from the meeting of October 20th?
So move.
Oh, I second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion? Okay, the motion passes. So do you want me to just go to Dr. Eisler, Kathy? Okay. So we'll go back to our committees afterwards. I would like to introduce Dr. Eisler and welcome him to our SGA meeting. Dr. Eisler, the floor is yours.
Great, thanks, Stephanie. Hi, everybody. I think I've met all of you. Chloe, I think I actually met you in person one time when you came into my office, maybe.
Really?
I think you did. Cody, we've seen each other on quite a few other meetings, so good to see you all. Thanks for having us here. And the other folks here are representing the NECHI Standard Committee number 5, which is students. And so let me explain a little bit about what NECHI is. And it's sometimes a mystery to people who work at the college, let alone for students. And then I'll turn it over to Sarah, who is the chair of this committee. And she wanted to discuss some next steps with you all in terms of getting feedback from students and getting feedback on the draft that we have posted. So if I may, am I able to share? Let's see. Nope. Kathy, do you run the meeting? Can I share my screen real fast, please?
You should be all set now.
Great. Perfect. Thank you. And yeah, I'm going to apologize in advance for having a PowerPoint, but it's the most efficient way to do this. Okay, so you'll hear the word NECHI floating around a lot, and what we're talking about here is a self-study. And NECHI is the New England Commission of Higher Education. So it is one of 7 regional accrediting bodies in the US. There's one in New England, there's one in Middle Atlantic and Southeast and West and all over the country. The regional accrediting bodies are the accrediting bodies for higher education. So for any college or university that wants to be accredited, they have to go through one of these organizations, and it's the definitive. So let's say you wanted to apply to a 4-year college, you want to apply to UMass, they're going to look to see that you've obtained your associate's degree from a regionally accredited institution. There are some, like online colleges that have regional accreditation, like Southern New Hampshire, but there's others that are nationally accredited, and sometimes it's hard to move on in your education without it. Plus, there's implications for financial aid and various other things. But it's a sign of quality in higher education. And basically, what it's doing, it's assuring the public that this is a quality institution. And they have a lot of criteria that they've established. Each one of these regional accrediting bodies is a little different in terms of how strict they are, what kind of things they look at. So there's a little sort of cultural differences from different parts of the country. But when you're applying to a 4-year school or maybe a grad school somewhere down the road, you want to make sure it's a regionally accredited school. And so in order to get regional accreditation, we have to go through a process. It's not just the college being sort of declared accredited. We have to demonstrate our effectiveness and our quality to this body. So we're able to demonstrate this by addressing the standards that are established by this accrediting body. One of the ways we do this, and the main way, is every 10 years, we have to do a self-study where we go through all of the standards that they've established and we critique ourselves and we provide evidence for great things that we're doing and things that address the standards. And then we also identified where we have some gaps and need to make some improvements in our delivery of instruction or our provision of services. And what the accrediting agency is looking for is for us to be honest and for us to be self-critical and to make projections or make aspirational goals for ourselves for how we're going to clear up these gaps and how we're going to meet the standards in the future. So it's not like we have to have 100% on this report. We have to have a pretty good showing, and they appreciate when we are self-critical, where we have some gaps, where we know we need to update some things about the buildings or we need to strengthen certain programs. And as long as we own it and we identify it and we explain it, provide evidence to back it up, and we say what we're going to do differently to make it better. So right now we are in the midst of our 10-year self-study. So you're in school here at a perfect time. This is a 2-year-long process for us to do this self-study, and it culminates with a site visit from NETCHI representatives who I'll say are experts in higher education. So they're going to read our study really carefully. They're going to come to campus. They're going to meet with us. They're going to meet with all of you and ask a lot of questions. So what we're doing right now, we're at the place now where we're honing in on our first rough draft. We've posted the first 2 sections of that rough draft, the description and the appraisal. And the committees are now working on the 3rd section, which are the projections, which are the plans for the future. So now posted on iConnect is the description and the appraisal draft. And what we're doing is holding these community sessions where we're asking the college community to read these documents and provide their feedback, their insight, their critique. And so that's, I think, largely what we're doing here is, and the other thing is the committees sometimes are looking for very specific questions to be addressed. So today, Sarah may have for you some very specific questions that will help them fill in some of those gaps. So it's a process that's, it feels very much like it's being done behind the scenes, but I do want you to understand that your voice is really vital here. All the staff and faculty administrators and students have a role to play here. And so what I'm showing you here are the standards of accreditation. So we have a committee that works on each one of these standards. And you'll see here that standard 5 is students. So all this can be found on netchi.org if you'd like to look these up for yourself. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, and I'll stop in just a minute. But I do want to at least give you a little flavor for what kind of questions are being asked. So I may have to reshare my screen. Hold on just a second, I'll reshare because it opened up a new window. Sorry, just a sec, it keeps, there we go. I know the last thing you want to do on a, I think, excuse me. I think this is it. It's so hard to see, it gets so small. Okay, you can see that, right? So under the students section, it asks about our admissions process, and they're asking questions like, do we understand whom we're admitting? Are students prepared to be successful? And that's what they ask these questions about. Is there an ethical program of recruitment? We have standards for admission that we don't just let anybody in and take their money or take their financial aid and send them on their merry way. And then it asks about student services and co-curricular experiences, so it's not purely academic. And it's the idea that we understand our students, we provide services and activities that enrich our students, those kind of questions. And so I don't mean to make you seasick here. We're really clear with students about borrowing money and the cost of the college, and that we're transparent about that. These are the kind of questions that we were asked, and some of this is about, you could really call it consumer protection. They want to make sure that our students know what they're getting into, they know what it's going to cost. We're not taking advantage of anyone. We're using federal dollars wisely, state dollars wisely, and the consumers' dollars wisely. And that we're clear about things like policies. Students understand those policies. They understand how we protect students' privacy, all those kind of things. So some of the stuff we attest to, and a lot of it we have to provide evidence to show that we actually do all those things. So that just gives you, I think, a little taste of what the accreditation process is. So it's a lot about, just what we identify about ourselves, but we have to back it up with evidence, and then we have to really critique what we do. And that's kind of fun. We've been having actually a lot of fun with it, because it gives you a chance as an employee to say, oh boy, this has really been bothering me for a long time. Now it's time to put it to paper, and someone's going to take notice of it. So it's been fun for us, and we feel like it's a nice little catalyst for some change for the future. And it also promotes some really great conversations like the one we're hopefully going to have tonight, and maybe plan for in the future. So I'll stop there and ask if you have any questions for me. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to Sarah.
Okay, so please feel free to always use the chat. My name's Sarah Williams. I am the program manager for the TRIO SSS programs. So I know some of you. And I am chairing Standard 5. So we, here tonight, we have Kyle Sivos, who works in admissions, Jason, who you know, Dina Sands, and of course, Marcia, who you also know. So we wanted to ask you for some feedback. We have some questions for you that we'd love your input on, but also as student leaders, thinking about what is the best way for us to connect with students, especially now during, this is not necessarily the peak time of the semester, everyone's feeling very tired. How are we going to make sure that students have a voice within this accreditation process, and so on. So I'm open to ideas there. But first, to kind of get us started, can you reflect back on your interactions with MWCC before your first day of classes, the first day of your first class? So kind of think back to whatever that looked like. What impact did your experiences have on your academic and co-curricular experiences during those semesters? How did you make a connection? So kind of thinking back to before you started classes, how did you make a connection with the institution? Yeah, Cody, just feel free. There's a small group of us, so just unmute.
Okay, you might regret that later as I just cut somebody off. But as you may not know, I am a very untraditional student. I am 27, going on 28 this month, and I started 10 years after I left education from high school. Had a family, bunch of background stuff, very interesting. But the point I'm trying to make is that when I walked into that campus trying to earn that degree, a big part of that making me, as someone who was nervous and unsure of my own capabilities as a student, because I failed in high school. I think I did maybe 1-2 assignments total, slept most of the classes. But to have that unconfidence come to this class, one of the big things that kept me on campus was the adult education program on here. That pipeline from GED where they prep you for the GE test and go you straight into college. That was beyond fantastic. From the teachers, from my advisors, and then the handoff process from when I was going for my GED, then transitioning into a college student, having fantastic advisors every step of the way who's going to email me if I didn't show up or just give me extra opportunities that they thought I could take advantage of has been phenomenal. One of the best people is Kim. She's an advisor at the college, and I've had meetings with her, even though she has no requirement to see me. I still talk to her on almost a nearly daily basis. We have meetings outside of that. And it's definitely cultivated a feeling like I don't want to let myself down or Kim or many of the other people from this college. So speaking from a non-traditional student, having the college be so open and welcoming and go out of their way to make sure I feel that way too has been unbelievably, unspeakably impactful in my college education.
Thank you, Cody.
I'm kind of right along with Cody. When I started my first semester, I actually started a cycle and was going traveling with my son back and forth to Boston as he was undergoing cancer treatments. And it was, if I had a problem, like my professors were there. I've done college in the past. Cody says he's got 10 years out of high school. I have 20. Didn't do that well in high school. And, now that, I'm this close to getting my certificate, makes me like, holy crap, I can actually do it. And I mean, even though I don't step foot on campus very often, having that interaction with, online professors as the online format has been invaluable.
Excellent. Thank you, Stephanie.
I mean, I'm kind of like not really. I'm a dual enrollment student, so I'm only 17. But before I started coming to the Mount, I've had people reaching out, trying to get information to me so I could go. I was also homeschooled prior to coming here, so I don't really have the high school experience, and I also don't have the life experience past high school, like Cody and Stephanie do, and that they mentioned. I'm kind of very new to all of this, so I found that it was very, like, they kept reaching out, the college kept reaching out. That's how I made the connection. Like, I got stuff in the mail, and I think I got emails and stuff. And then friends were reaching out, like, oh, you should come. So that's how I made my initial connections, and then people have been very helpful since I've been here. So
Yeah, that's one of those things that I always really appreciate about working at MWCC. Like, I've been here about 10 years now or more. I think it's a little bit more now, but it's just how many different backgrounds our students have and how, like, it kind of comes into play. If you were thinking about, and I know I'm like making you all like really like jog your memories, but think about like that week before classes start, new student orientation. Did you participate in orientation, leadership academy? Think about those initial advising moments or anything like that. Does anything like that like stand out to you? Different activities that we offer or events? I know I'm like putting you on the spot and making you think about it.
I think for me, it kind of hits on the kind of the same beat of these programs being open, but to score some free brownie points with Kathy here, I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Kathy reaching out to me during the Leadership Academy. I took it as just, I had nothing better to do. why not see what happens? Probably good way to spend an hour. But her reaching out to me allowed me to continue doing my work from here and other parts of the school. And it's been fantastic from just that side. But also, like I touched on earlier, is that I think it might be a little more different because I had that pipeline than other students. But speaking from that perspective, having that, the managing the website is very confusing, right? That I have to have a person step in and teach me how to set up classes, how to set up my insurance correctly, how to send this waiver correctly, and how to do that on time. And I had that person in my corner help me every step, doing the extra Zoom meetings if I needed, and having that person remove that roadblock for me, because I probably would have just put it off or like, whatever, I'll just go to Dunkin' Donuts. I don't need it. Maybe college isn't for me. I'll just get a bagel, call it a day. But because of that, I was handheld. I was shepherded through people like that. It made the process so much easier, and I made it so much easier to understand what I wanted out of college. So,
Thank you, Cody.
I know for me, where I started in the middle of a semester, it was very awkward because I had researched the field I wanted to go into and basically made a decision, had some time, went to the school, spent a day, registered for classes, got my ID, everything done in one day. And that usually doesn't happen at places. So that was really, really cool, especially for me, because it takes me so long to get to campus. So having to be able to do all of that, go this place, this place, get everything done, walk out with a schedule, my ID, everything, only after one visit was amazing.
That's great. So just changing gears a little bit, always please feel free if there are comments or thoughts that you have, please use the chat. We're speaking with our student leaders here in SGA. How did you get involved in student leadership? Why did you get involved? And were you aware of opportunities like SGA when you applied to the institution, or did you kind of find it out, or when did you find it out?
if no one else is going to go, I'm going to cut ahead this time again. Again, Kathy through the Leadership Academy, but I think I was kind of like built up this regret of losing a middle school election where I bribed people with peppermint patties, and that kind of like unfulfilled wish fulfillment. But I kind of wanted to taste to see what the new opportunities of what that could mean for me. And while I would love to just tell you, it's because I have a heart of pure gold. It's very heavy in my chest, hurts to walk around, giving me a limp. I just enjoy the work that I've been able to do, whether that's through OER or the Academic Center or just here on the SGA. It's been a lot of fun having these meetings, being able to talk to people and actually listen and be like that footstone into the door. It's been very interesting, very enjoyable, and being able to help people, it's been great.
That's great, Cody.
Yeah, for me, the reason I joined, and I did not know about any of these leadership positions. I think I currently hold 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I currently hold 5 leadership positions at the college right now, but I wasn't aware of those when I joined. If it wasn't for my gateway advisor, I wouldn't have joined SGA because I didn't know that was a thing. Until she was like, you do it. And I was like, okay. So that's how that came about. And I've really like Cody, I really enjoy the work. It is rather stressful at times, but I enjoy the work and the people who are involved. So I've definitely found it very rewarding.
Excellent. Thank you, Chloe.
I know. Go ahead, Ernest.
So I would like to add a little bit to what I already said. I joined SGA through a friend. I didn't really know like what SGA is about, but later on, like I went to involvement, research a little bit about it, and get to know SGA, a little bit SGA, and I found out that I enjoy helping people. So that kind of like connect to like what I already do, like what I actually like, even though it's sometimes like stressful and hard to manage sometimes between my schedules, but it's something that I actually like doing. That's why I'm staying in it. And I didn't even realize I could even join, like I could even have a position. I wasn't even planning on having a position or anything like that in the SGA. Yeah.
So thank you, Ernest.
I know for me,
Like this kind of also helped me. This also helped me build my leadership skills. Even though I'm not aware of that. Like I wasn't aware of that when I was joining. It's kind of also helped me build my leadership skills.
Excellent. Thank you.
I know for me, it was basically, it was hard for me to join clubs and organizations because I'm a completely online student. And I would go onto campus and I'd be like, Kathy, can we have Zoom, meetings and stuff like that? And, you know, she's like, well, I don't know, because it was all on in person. And then COVID hit, and I get blamed for that because once COVID hit, the world opened up for me and for every other online student to join clubs and organizations. So, I mean, it was just amazing that, I can sit here at home, 50 minutes from the school and still be the SGA president.
Yeah, that's great. That's great, Stephanie. So no, go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off, Sarah, but I really just want to hammer home that the school, and especially Kathy, again, trying to bump my points up here, but they have gone out of the way during this time period, like Stephanie said, to facilitate not only us, but students during this heavily electronic and bandwidth time. And a similar boat, if this infrastructure that they've built wasn't in place as it was, I don't know if I could travel 45 minutes to do a 2-hour meeting. Like many people, like Stephanie, I have people I have to take care of that need me to be at certain places at certain times. And like this meeting right now, I don't know if this could happen if I had to be in person with this. And this magic is only really happening because somebody built this infrastructure, that the school took their time to make sure that we could do what we're doing.
I think that that's so important. Thank you for reiterating that, Cody, because I think we've seen so many really important changes, since the pandemic. I think sometimes innovation is forced upon us, and we adapt, and then we find out that this opens up a whole new opportunity for us. Leadership is one of the questions or one of the standards within our section. So that's why I want to make sure that I ask that. So thinking about your peers, what do you think are some of the obstacles to student involvement in co-curricular or leadership opportunities, especially now where we do have more things that are remote? What do you see as some of the obstacles or maybe reasons why students aren't or wouldn't be involved? Things that we could address. Yeah.
I think a lot of it might have to do with everything that students are dealing around them. Some people who, if you think about it, some people don't even have their kids back in school. So, or, their spouses or are working from home. So, it's just hard, and then learning how to do the technology, learning how to adapt to a online learning environment. And, having meetings is great, but it's that face-to-face that people are missing. It's that face-to-face, connection, I think.
I think I'm chiming here. I think another aspect, like we literally just talked on, is scheduling, timing. As Mount Wachusett isn't a 4-year, we don't have an on-campus site. People who come here have other lives and involvements outside of just being a student. And while that, I feel like that's a barrier, being able to schedule, because even, I don't know if you know this, but this meeting is supposed to have an additional like 15 members of the SGA in it. And it's not from a lack of trying to reach out. It's not from a lack of nobody cares. There's a lot of people who care, who are actively trying to fill these roles and get people to see what's available in these positions. And we're making headway with the Zoom and the conventions and stuff like this, and opening up people's schedules to allow them to do it. I also think it's availability in that time issue. It is a huge time commitment. I think Stephanie can very well attest to that, having come from a recent 3 to 4 hour meeting at SAC. And it's time commitment, but I think we're making strides towards that and bringing that gap down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Cody and Stephanie. Chloe or Ernest, do you have any things to add?
No, I think they've said everything.
I think it's so insightful. When you think about like the layers that our students are working through, right? Like you have so many responsibilities that you're juggling. And then so trying to carve out time to do some of these other things can be a lot. So I know that we are probably getting a little tight on time. Kathy or Stephanie, how are we?
I think you're okay. We're a little after 6, so we had kind of figured till about 6:15.
Okay. So I want to ask, when you think of diversity, equity, and inclusion at MWCC, what comes to mind?
Again, I think economic equity. There are a lot of problems, obviously, that we've discussed before, but the school has gone pretty far in addressing them. I had trouble getting bus money because I had to go, especially last couple semesters, every day was $4, and that adds up. And I was able to afford buses to college during those first semesters because of programs like the food bank at our school. I was able to supplement that and use those little dollars I saved on cans of chickpeas and rice to fund me actually going to college. And even beyond that, it's also our school's initiative in OER, where a lot more teachers involving open educational resources and really freeing up books. I know multiple of my classes this semester, and including this one, have used open educational resources to save me, well, I'm a literature major here, so not as much, but if it was a science class, $100 is insane. And the school's going towards that. I know the school also has on-campus daycare for students coming in. We talked about time already, and being able to make sure that your kids are going to be set somewhere safe while you can fully study is immeasurable.
Thank you, Cody.
I know for me, as I think about the diversity of the student and faculty population, because of, if you think about it, you know, we're all in different areas of our lives, whether it be students, faculty, or staff. But, you know, we all have one common ground. And that's, you know, everybody wants to help the students succeed. And, you know, it's a lot of times you'll see, I've seen staff, I've seen faculty, you know, give out numbers to students, you know, if they're teaching. Or, you know, they care about their students. And like, if something happens, they are open, you know. I have an English professor who basically has her, you know, you can sign up for a Zoom appointment with her, you know, on her on her blackboard, you know, and she makes time for you. And that is just, you know, it's just when the staff makes time, it's the amazing part. You know, that's the part that the little things make the difference.
And to follow through the further explain on like Stephanie's point of the diversity and stuff like this, the different types of students coming here. Massachusetts has if you're on campus, you would be aware of this, a really high amount of diversity of students from different languages, different countries who are coming to Massachusetts to get an education. And from meeting with multiple different advisors, the lengths they're going to not only provide clarity to a lot of the language issues facing these students, they're also providing opportunities that can be easily glossed over within the gray area of multiple languages. And the effort I'm seeing is just, it's awesome seeing so many people from so many different countries being able to come to Massachusetts and just feel at home.
So I think they've said everything that I need to say, but I'll add a little bit more to it. So Mom, what you said, I haven't like visited most colleges, but like from my perspective, from my little experience, I think the Mount has like a lot of diversity from my experience than other colleges. So the more so the more diverse the school is, the more like other other race or other type of people feel comfortable like involving themselves into the school. And I've seen Mount as one of them based on my experience. Yeah.
Thank you, Ernest. So yeah, no, thank you for that. I have asked one more question. And this is pretty quick. Where do you go for all of your college related information? Are you someone who goes into your email? Are you checking your email? Are you overwhelmed with your email? Are you looking at iConnect, the website? Where do you go, Blackboard, for this information? Your favorite advisor?
So mainly for me, it starts with just checking my email every morning. Just like Chloe, I'm also involved in a lot of different happenings around the campus. So it does get a little overwhelming with the amount of emails and keeping track of them. I used to laugh at people, or like not laugh, but like wonder why anyone would need two different monitors. Like you're just showing off. Why would you need two different monitors? And over the course of me being at the Mount, I'm like, yeah, I get it. I get why you need multiple screen space. But other than checking my email, Blackboard every day, go to that either for my classes, signing up now that I know what I'm doing. Thanks, advisors. But if I have any questions, I either bug one of the staff on campus, Kathy, send a text message, contact a lot of people over there. But yeah, Blackboard, email, bug people.
Thank you, Cody.
Yeah, I also get my emails from I get my stuff from my emails, and if it's really important, my advisor will let me know. So mostly I get my stuff from emails, and it's a lot. I'm also like involved in a lot of stuff. So as Cody said, it's very overwhelming.
Thank you, Ernest.
I know
Yeah.
for me, I have my email on multiple systems. I have it on my phone, I have it on my iPad, I have it on my computer, and I am a double screen person, Cody. So, but I also go to the Visions office because I'm a Vision student. So I kind of check in with used to be Kayla, but now it's Rachel. And I get the emails. I go on iConnect and Blackboard pretty much every day. The first thing I log into is my email and iConnect. So
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, I'm also in the same boat as everybody. I get a lot of email information. So a lot of my things from the different clubs that I'm in, or from involvement from like the student life. I get a lot of my emails, and even from like classes. All of that comes through email. But then also I get other things from my advisor. She usually at least once a week puts out a whole ton of new information for us to absorb. So yeah, I have a few different ways I get my information.
Excellent. Thank you, Chloe. So like Dr. Eisler was saying earlier, we have drafts that we are looking to get feedback from. Do you have ideas about how we can get the student feedback on these drafts? It's a dense document too. It's kind of long.
Maybe if from like, at least from the SGA side, or even just me personally, we could read and do a Spark Note session and make that available to the student body. Like, hey, at this point, at this time, you can come to us, to someone who knows or someone who can know, and we can address questions or just do Q&A.
Thank you, Cody.
yeah, because I noticed that you guys have it up on. I know Dr. Eisler said it was up on iConnect, and I actually opened it. And looking at it, it's a 34-page document so far. But you know, kind of breaking it down to, you know, I know it's just the booklet, but just taking standard 5, which is the one the students are really concerned about, and just having that one available
Okay.
might be easier, and trying to, you know, maneuver, you know, which one is the right one and whatever is very difficult, because if you click on the Netchy thing, the portal, there's like different, you know, guides on there and stuff from like 2018. So, you know, putting the one that appeals to the students the most might be easier.
Okay.
Yep, that's a really good point. And I don't know if you noticed, but we have these dynamic forms set up so you can type in your comments or questions right there, and it'll map on to the various chapters. We found we gave it out to all faculty and staff, and we had a handful of people give us written feedback. So I don't know if we can really expect students to take the time to do that, but if you guys are willing to host a session and sort of synthesize the comments and the sentiments for everybody, that would be really cool. It's a lot to ask students to read this. I mean, the standard 5 is maybe between 8 and 10 pages, I guess. So I wouldn't expect students to read all of the sections on, you know, the financial resources of the college, or, you know, really kind of boring stuff. So I like your idea, Stephanie, to have chapter 5 really jump out for the students. We can well, I'll take that back to the steering committee and we'll make sure that happens. But if you can think of some other strategy other than the just individuals filling out dynamic forms, and if you're willing to host a session and we can be there to support you and guide that conversation too. So however you want to do it.
I was gonna ask a question when you had said to fill out the dynamic form. Is that where you access it from my desktop? Because it doesn't work for students.
Oh, it doesn't. I didn't know that.
No, because I tried accessing it from my desktop. I copied the URL and then pasted it,
Okay.
and it says sign in. So you would, I would sign in the same way I would with iConnect.
Yep.
And then I type in my password and it doesn't work.
Okay. Let me look into that. We have to have some mechanism. There might be some students who would prefer that, and others who would probably prefer a more dynamic kind of session rather than a dynamic form.
Because a lot of students don't know what the dynamic forms are.
Yep, for sure.
Stephanie, could you reach out to some faculty and see if they'll maybe give extra credit or something along those lines for students? And I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. It may be through Ellen Pratt.
Yeah, I could talk to Ellen.
See if you can get, I don't know, business students or some, I don't know what group of students would want to read stuff, but
Business students, English students.
possibly, yeah. I would,
Because I know English, I know my English class is doing, our semester is focused on student success.
there you go.
So this would be perfect.
Right. I would reach out to faculty and see if they'll add it some kind of way for extra credit or.
I'll send an email to Ellen this week.
I think it can also be like a really handy tool. Like it's like we're kind of learning how to write this as we're writing it, but also if you're thinking in your future careers that you want to have a role in student services and student affairs or working in higher ed, this is a pretty routine process. So it kind of gives you some exposure to this. So it can be kind of cool to kind of look at this and see like what you might, see in the future. That's really great. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for suggesting that. Any other ideas or thoughts? Well, thank you for allowing us to come and take some time from your meeting tonight. We really appreciate your feedback and your insight. Actually, I remember what I was going to ask now. What do you think of the questions that I asked you? Do you think that students would have things that they would want to speak to some of these things, or in a survey or in another roundtable or something like that, and reflecting back on those first few interactions, maybe their experience with student leadership, what they think of that, when they think of diversity, equity, inclusion at MWCC, what do they think of? And where they go for, really managing all of that college-related information. Like, do you think that these are questions that our students would want to speak to?
I know, I think one of the really good questions, that might help you a lot is where do students go? I mean, if I was going to make that list of questions, that would be the first one I would put. Is where do students go for information? And then probably the second one would be, thinking about before your first day of classes, your experience. Because not a lot of students went to orientation, and especially where orientation over the last year has been different than it usually is.
That's a great point. Thank you, Stephanie. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time tonight. If you do have thoughts or ideas, or you're thinking about this later on, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to put my email in the chat. And have a great night.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks for stopping by, guys.
Sarah, could you email me a list of the questions?
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night. Thank you guys
See
for
you, Sarah.
coming.
Bye, guys.
Thanks so much.
Okay,
Well, that was nice.
that was fun, and that was a fun way to start our meeting. So let's see if we can, let's go back to our agenda. Do we have any reports from the Constitution Committee?
Since
Ernest?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes, I do. So last time, me and we met and we voted on the Constitution, and we accepted one, but we rejected one. But later, I sent an email to you guys to do email voting, and Danielle and Chloe. The one that we voted on the other one. The first one Kathy was there, but the second one we rejected it, and later I Zoomed with Kathy, and Kathy said it meets all the necessary requirements for it to be voted on. So later I sent the email to you guys, and I don't know, a few of you, Chloe and Daniel, said yes, and none of the rest of you, Cody, you didn't say yes or no. Did you see the email?
Yeah, I said, hold up.
Did you say?
I sent it. Wait, hold on.
You sent it? How come I didn't see it then?
Hold on. Let me
Oh.
do some Scooby-Doo snooping here.
So please, the first one accepted, but the second one was rejected during our meeting. But later on, it got we voted on through email. So that's what I have.
And that was the PTK and DAPI's Constitution?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. So let's go. ahead.
Both of them go voted on.
They both got, did
Yeah,
they get
so
approved?
Both of them go voted on. Yeah, in the Constitution Committee, yeah. So now we are bringing it to the SGA.
Okay. And he just got booted off. So,
You can go ahead and call for the vote. Oh, there he is.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
yep,
Yeah.
Oh, I got out for some reason. I'm not home right now. Sorry, guys.
so do you want to call for a vote?
Yeah, I want to call for a vote.
Okay.
So how do I say this?
So all those in favor of approving,
I bring.
Yep,
all
you were
those
doing it
in
right,
favor.
Ernest. I'm sorry.
Now, first, you're going to make a motion.
Yep.
I make a motion to we are doing each one separately, right?
Yes.
All right. I'm making a motion to the Constitution of Delta Alpha.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Any,
I
any discussion? Hey,
There's,
do you hear me?
yep, we heard you, Daniel. So there's no discussion?
No discussion?
Okay, so the motion passes.
All right. So the next constitution is free data chapter constitution.
The Phi Theta Kappa?
Yeah, pi data kappa. I don't know how to say that right.
Yep. PTK.
All right, PTK. I make him how do I go from here?
Make a motion.
I make a motion to PTK field data chapter constitution.
so moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Any discussion?
I
Any discussion?
Nope.
Let's say I too.
So there's no discussion? So both of those pass unanimously.
All right. So Kathy. Hello?
Yeah.
Kathy. Yeah, so are you going to reach out to them, or do you want
Yes.
me to reach out to them, or how is it gonna?
No, I'll go ahead and reach out to the club advisors and let them know that those are passed and they can upload them to Involve.
All right.
So let's move on to the Ways and Means. Daniel, do you have anything?
For me, I have nothing to report yet.
Okay. Student trustee?
So our previous meeting got postponed until literally tomorrow. So I'll have more to report back on that. But there was the trustee webinar, the convening of all the trustees across the state. And there they outlined the goals and obviously what they talked about next year. They're doing the review and stuff like that, and the education of where we want to be in our goal setting. I have the full notes if needed, but the general idea is that they really want to up the degree counts across the state until 70%. They're going to go through policy audits, kind of like a self-review again to make sure everything's up, and address equality across the state. That's one of the major huge issues across, from poor budgeting across college campuses to student debt, lack of family support, and even campus support. That was a huge talking point on that went on for quite a while, and just making sure that students can be the best students they can be.
Thank you. So on Student Advisory Council, we had a very good meeting with Commissioner Santiago. That was very informative. And then the committees were assigned. Cody, you're on OER, right, again?
Yeah, I think so. I sent
Yeah.
out emails, so I should be.
Yeah, and I am co-chairing the policy committee, so I get to write bylaws again. So, our next meeting is in, I think, November or December. But we've been going over, what's the issues with, hate emails going across campuses, to student organizations, and pretty much student safety. And trying to change one of the Mass General laws that allows, students, the trust, how do I put it? That's the best way to put it, Cody? You know what law they're changing?
No, not off the top of my head. I'm sorry, I can't fish you out.
No.
Stephanie, is it the student member on the Board of Higher Ed, the voting
Yes.
member?
Yes. It's the voting member. They want to, because what happens is, there's one for community college, there's one for the state colleges, and there's one for UMass. So each one of those only is allowed to vote on the Board of Higher Ed once every 3 years. It's a rotating cycle. So what we want to do this year is make it so that all 3 of them can vote every year and it doesn't turn into a rotating cycle. So they have more than one voice so the students have more than one voice on the board. Student body liaison.
Yeah, actually, I do have something to report. So I got an email from Kelly Johnson a little while back, 6 days ago, so like 1 week ago. She is requesting, oh wait, where'd it go? She was requesting that she could meet with a member of the student government she's a member of the press at the Mount. And so she was requesting that somebody could meet with her, preferably sooner rather than later, because it needs to be in before Thanksgiving. And I was not sure exactly where to go with that, and then I'd bring it up. Kathy said I could bring it up in the meeting. So
Would that be me, Kathy, since I'm president?
Probably, unless you wanted to delegate it to somebody. So I think she wants to do an interview for the Mount Observer.
I can do that.
So the other thing is she mentioned is that she wanted to send out the link, which I don't know if that would be allowed or not. But she said that she would want to send out the link. But what I can do is I can just redirect her to you, Stephanie.
Yes.
Okay.
That might be better. Right, Kathy?
Yeah. If you're the one that's gonna connect with her, then
Yeah, just
Chloe can just send it to you.
Just send her an email and just CC me on it.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
I'll throw your email address in there as well.
Yep. Thank you. Next one is Academic Senate, which I was unable to attend the Academic Senate meeting on, wait a minute, no. I think we have one this coming Tuesday, the 9th. So, and we were talking about the email and texting. So the protocols towards that, and then the protocol on, I can't even remember. I'm drawing a blank.
So the Academic Senate,
Yeah.
it was brought up about there's a texting policy that the college is going to, and the social media policy.
Yep.
Right. Which I think me and Kathy have sort of started talking about a little bit, because it may affect students too. But those nothing really happened with those. Those are just going to be going to committees.
Yep. So, anything from student success? I think I heard we need to reassign student success. Am I right on that one, Kathy?
Chloe, is that correct that you're not going to be able to attend their meetings?
I'm not in student success.
Oh, yeah, it's not.
student-
It's
no, I'm in the
academic environment
environment. Yeah.
technologies. So the student success is Daniel.
Daniel, do you have anything to report on student success? His Wi-Fi is probably choppy. Do you want me to come back to that one? Okay, academic environment and technologies.
Yeah, so it's the meetings for it kind of collide with one of my class times. So I'm not able to meet. I didn't make the last one. And I won't be able to make I could probably make the next one, but I won't be able to make the one after that. But it's really it's not it's conflicting with my class time.
Okay, so do you want to see if we can delegate that to somebody else?
That would be ideal, yes.
Okay. Does anybody want one of those meetings?
So it would be, hold on. They're always going to be at 12:30. The last one is on a Wednesday, and then the next one is on a Monday, and then the one after that is on a Wednesday. But I can get you the exact dates in a second.
Cody, you're muted.
Which one is the Student Success Committee? What time is that?
That's the one Daniel's on.
Oh, okay. So
the next one for the academic environment one is November 22nd. It's a Monday at 12:30, and then the one after that is December hold on, I gotta find it. It's in December and it's on a Wednesday and it's at 12:30. That I know that's, but the next one is on the 22nd.
Okay.
So I have no problem. I can shift things around to make the November 22nd one. I can do that, but Kathy, would it be then possible to get me a room to then join the meeting? Because that would be right after my class.
So the library has rooms available that you can reserve if you need to be in a quiet space. They're designed for students that have to take online courses or hybrid courses. So, but you could check and see if they have a space available, if you can reserve a space for that day.
So so tomorrow I'll call up the library. I'll send an email if I get it or not, but I'll see if I can get that space then for academic environment.
Thank you, Cody. All college forum. Cody, I think that's you.
Oh, wasn't you there too, Stephanie? Anyway.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. So a big part of the all college forum was, surprise, COVID. I don't know how many you are aware, we're going to be implementing mandatory mandates for vaccinations on campus, and this has stirred a lot of the pot about how students are going to engage with in-person classes versus online classes, and a lot of discussion got up about that. A lot of the questions involved students that had joint classes or had labs. If they're gonna, if their class is online, how are they gonna go do the labs? It was talked about how they can set up a second environment that they can go into, for at least for like for the lab portion. Another huge part of that was just, I need some help here. Kathy, Candace.
A lot of interacting that is not sort of classroom was talked about. Other people who may need to be on campus for different reasons. Now I'm drawing a blank. And there are a few questions that still need to be sort of answered. Jason spent some time talking about what was going to be sent, I believe, was that at that meeting? Okay, good. I don't know anymore. About what to expect, what the students can expect. That was, Jason talked to everybody else about what correspondence students were going to give, and we spent some time on that. I think that's it. I don't know, Kathy, did I miss anything?
Yeah, that was pretty much it as far as the vaccination status. And that email was sent out Monday, so all students received that. As far as, and they're still working on the employee end of the vaccination requirements because they're still in conversations with the two unions. So that hasn't been finalized yet.
Okay. Any other committees? No. Okay. Do you have anything, Jason?
Hi, everybody. Sorry about my camera. I think I just need to do a full reboot, and I didn't want to spend 10 minutes trying to do that and miss any of the meeting. I would just echo what Candace and Cody and Kathy just said regarding All College Forum. My week has been, my last 17 months has been all COVID, but this week has been sort of more focused on the vaccine mandate. That email to all students went out on Monday. We have received to date over, I think I'm close to 150 vaccine confirmations that have been uploaded into the system. 8 requests for accommodations. That is a separate process. And we will, just continue to move forward there with legal counsel. And I think the only thing I would add to that, in the questions that I've had, phone calls from students, from families, parents, emails from students, families, parents, is just a reminder that this policy, the policy that Mount Wachusett is putting into place, is consistent with the policy across the institution, across all 15 community colleges. The only real significant difference is Mount Wachusett's choice, which is similar to about half of the other community colleges in Massachusetts, to restrict course registration until vaccine compliance or an accommodation is approved, meaning that you are unable to register for a course that has a face-to-face component until you have either successfully submitted your full vaccination compliance or go through the accommodation process and are approved for an accommodation that might allow you to register for one of those courses. Some institutions in Massachusetts have opted to not put that restriction on the front end, and their policy will involve dropping all non-compliant students in January. And we decided that we did not want to do that for a number of reasons. One, it felt very punitive to essentially just drop students with even with multiple reminders. It feels like a lot like the cancellation for non-payment, which we have talked about in this forum as being problematic. It would be a cancellation for non-vaccination, and it would have the potential to disrupt class rosters for our faculty. It would have the potential of maybe blocking spots for registration for students who are in compliance from getting into those courses because they were full with perhaps folks who did not intend to comply with the policy. So we opted to do this proactively. And as Kathy knows, I've met with a number of students who have concerns around the policy. I will meet with any student one-on-one, call every student back. That's what I've been doing all week. I've had students who have left my office, literally 2 students today left my office and went and got vaccinated. Their choice. After the conversation and learning more about, what the policy was and why it was there. And both of them have already submitted their Johnson & Johnson vaccination cards and have been approved to register for on-campus courses. So that's really, I'll take any questions that you have, but if you are hearing from students, please encourage them to come and chat with me. I know this is challenging. It's challenging for lots of folks who have some decisions to make. I'm always willing to have that conversation with students and families.
And I know for a fact, Jason, it wasn't very hard to submit the vaccination card.
You're welcome. We tried to make the process as simple as possible. You can do it right on your phone. Super easy. And it's equally easy on my end so that we can clear students very, very quickly. And as you know, Stephanie and others, if you've gone through the process, my promise to students when they submit is that we will clear them within 24 hours of receiving their vaccination information, unless it's a Saturday or Sunday. And that language, it literally does say, if it's Saturday or Sunday, please give me until Monday to clear you. But to be honest, I'll probably clear you on the weekend anyway. But
Yeah, because I got my email less than 24 hours after putting my card in.
Yep.
And if you're serious, Jason, about sending people to your office, I had a style conversation at the SGA booth with a student who was planning on dropping enrollment due to this mandated vaccines. And even though I urged to consider the possibilities of getting one and the benefits of that stuff, it was pretty rock solid. And if you're serious about that, I think he would have been great sending him off to you.
And there's a chance that he was one of the many students that I've met with this week. Call, email, all that contact information is also in that email. So some students have written some nasty stuff, and a lot of students have written some really good, well thought out stuff. My philosophy here is that I'm trying really hard not to engage in any of that sort of political, even medical. I'm not a doctor. Some days I can barely form a sentence. I'm really going back to, this is our policy. Here's what your options are. Here are your pathways forward. You need to make whatever decision that you are comfortable standing with. And I know the conversation, Cody, around not continuing on with enrollment, the conversations I've had, particularly with parents who have been upset, parents of dual enrollment students as well, there are pathways forward for unvaccinated folks. That may be remote learning, it may be some other options. It's not an either or scenario. It's not you're either vaccinated or you're not a student here. You can be unvaccinated and continue to move forward. We are still going to offer remote and online courses. And so I've sat with students and looked at course listings. So for example, a student came into my office today saying, I'm out of here, F you, I'm leaving. And I was like, dude, sit down, let's talk about it. Tell me what courses you want to take next semester. He lists 4 courses. We go on the course listing. All of them are offered online. And he's like, oh, I guess I'll stay. So it was just as simple as just making that person feel visible and sitting with them and saying, look, you have options here. Would you have taken online courses anyway? Yeah, but you told me I had to be vaccinated. No, I didn't. If you read through it, if you're unvaccinated, you can continue to move forward. So sometimes it's just about aligning the message with someone, because it's never what you say, it's only what students hear, right? And if students are really charged up about this issue, and adults, they could hear, you're making me get vaccinated. And that's not what we're doing. And I won't ever do that. Like I had a student today say to me, I'm going to get vaccinated, Jason. What vaccine should I get? Hell no. I'm not going to have that conversation with you. Here's an email. Here's a website. Here's the CDC's website. Do your research, do your reading, make the best decision for you. I cannot give you medical advice.
There is no MD after your name, Jason?
Not that stands for medical doctor. So yes, as SGA leaders, I would appreciate you trying to convince a student that I will engage in that conversation, right? Email me, call me, come visit with me. I will always engage. If nothing else, just let them know that I am going to have that conversation. And I'll tell you, I had 2 students in my office today, and they brought up a great question, which is, why is fully vaccinated 14 days after your final dose, or for Johnson & Johnson, your first dose? And I was like, well, that's the definition from legal counsel and the CDC, that you're not technically fully vaccinated until 14 days after. And they were like, well, you know, once I get that final dose, why can't I register for classes? Because unless I die in 14 days, I'm going to be fully vaccinated, right there. It's ticking towards that sort of, so as long as I get that second vaccine at least 14 days before the start of classes, why can't I register for it? And so we were sitting there, I'm like, that's a really good point. So I literally called the state legal counsel and said, here's this and they were like, yeah, that's a really good point. So these 2 students in my office changed the state policy relative to clearing students because they brought a concern forward. And by the end of the day, they were both cleared. So we're always willing to have that dialogue with students. And they were really impressed. I called them back and said, hey guys, you just changed the state policy, from legal counsel, because you brought a good question forward. And Sunny and Kristen Kane, Professor Kane, are the 2 faculty that encourage them, go down and talk to them. You've got a good point. Don't be afraid. And they came into my office, and look how that happened. So, we're going to listen.
Okay. We're going to move on because, sorry, Jason. Candace, do you have anything?
2 minutes, just really quick. Registration opens, I believe, the 15th, I think. You're going to notice, well, maybe you won't notice, but if you walk around, you're going to notice signs on the door. Classes are literally being assigned based on the number of students are being assigned based on the capacity for classes. So some of the classes may have had 32 of them, but because we're going with 3 feet as the standard, you're going to notice that some classes are going to have less students in them because of the 3 feet. And, it may be English class and it may close quickly. And you're like, well, it just opened. How is there there's not going to be 32 in classes probably this semester. Online, completely different. I'm trying not to look over there. Online, completely different, where, it may be up to 25 students. You may not notice it, but classes may close quicker than usual because it's based on room size. And, and I think this, or maybe you don't, what's the right word? What we're trying to reach for is 40% of all full-time faculty's course load would be face-to-face. So that's 60%. For those of you that have math, can do math like me, that's 60% of the courses that will still be online. So to Jason's point, that's actually more percentage, if that's the right word, that there's going to be online or remote or hybrid classes. So we're going to ease into this. I don't think there's any more beyond that, except for, and I think I explained it quickly last time, the unions they don't get to decide if there is a vaccine. Everyone is going to be mandated to get a vaccine to be on campus in the spring. It's how it's sort of rolled out. And that is what they're still discussing. I apologize. People are still calling me at 7 o'clock at night. So that's it. I'll stand for questions. I'll be around, but that's it for me.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Or should we just move on? Okay. Old business. We still need people to sign up for the food drive. So,
This is face to face?
yes,
Okay, I need to know when, okay,
the food drive is from, we started handing out flyers on the 1st, and it will go until next Friday. And then the following week, up until that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, after Veterans Day, is the actual, will we be collecting food. And then Wednesday and Thursday is the farmer's market. So we do need people to sign up. And going along with signups, as a requirement of being on student government, you guys are supposed to be covering the virtual office. I know that I've seen, it's been pretty good so far, but it can get better. We need to do virtual office coverage. That's a big one. And the other big one is SGA recruitment. And one thing I wanted to talk about with recruitments is this week I'm going to make a Google spreadsheet of all of the clubs here at the Mount that are on Involve Mount. What I would kind of require or like would be for one person to take a club and then just make a spiel about student government. I know I did this on Tuesday at our crew meeting, which was very nice because our crew advisor, Rick Skinner, basically put in a plug for SGA, and which was cool. It wasn't that hard. So I'll put the sheet on the shared drive so that everybody can sign up for a club. And if I put the club down and you're in the club, then just put your name. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. Let's see. Next thing is new business. As we are coming to the end of the fall semester, I just want to let people know to think about the dates and time we're going to be able to meet for the spring. Because we may have to shift it due to people's schedules and stuff like that. So, just think about that. Think about that when you're putting together your schedule for the spring. Any announcements before we end?
I will be sending out an invite for tomorrow's Randy Shine show. Encourage everybody to go if you can. It's at 12:30. He's a magician. Candace, you should go. He's the one you saw at APCA last year that you wanted.
I know.
Yeah, he's gonna be good. He's actually doing what he calls his Africa Cadabra, Africa Cadabra and Black Magic, and it's the history of magicians in Africa. But he's a really cool magician. So I'll be sending that out later tonight, an invitation to that. But if you can go to that, go ahead and join. We're actually going to be live streaming it in the student center. So if you're on campus and you walk by the student center at 12:30 to 1:30, it'll be live streamed there.
Okay.
Wait,
Awesome.
I have a question. You mean that should we be on campus or no?
No, it's
Oh,
going to be
okay.
on Zoom, but it's going to be live streamed on, for the Zoom is going to be live streamed in the campus, in the student center, on just a big TV monitor. We're going to start doing that for
Okay.
more of our events.
Awesome. Any other announcements before we end? Okay, remember our next SGA meeting is scheduled for the 17th of November. It's at 5:30 PM. I call this meeting adjourned at 7:07 PM.